What's going on, guys? It's your boy Andy Matrix, and I'm sure you've seen the buzz, the news about Scott Pilgrim takes off, right? The Scott Pilgrim anime. And yes, it is an anime. Some people are gonna argue that no, it's not an anime because of blah 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 blah. No, it was created by a Japanese studio, right? The same studio that did who was it? I think it was Devilman Crybaby. I gotta double check that, but the point is that it was actually made by a Japanese studio, okay? There, I said it. Now, so I watched Scott Pilgrim and I was actually really excited. I was actually really excited for this anime because, there was actually, for those that don't know, Scott Pilgrim is actually a comic book. It's a Canadian comic book, and there was a 2010 movie, a live action movie of Scott Pilgrim, right, with Michael Cera, and it was actually absolutely amazing. I love the Scott Pilgrim movie. I love it, right? And there was also a video game, which is actually pretty cool. It's a beat 'em up. It's a beat 'em up video game. Really cool. Scott Pilgrim. I mean, it's a great franchise. So Netflix announced this in anime a couple of months ago. I went ahead and watched it. And oh my goodness, Netflix just pulled a Kevin Smith. Netflix pulled a Kevin Smith. And for those of you that don't understand, Kevin Smith, he made the He-Man reboot, right? The He-Man animated show, the reboot. And it's not even about He-Man. It's only He-Man by promotion. But you watch the show and it's about, that other girl, Tila. And this is the same case with Scott Pilgrim. You watch the very first episode. Scott Pilgrim disappears in the first episode. Spoiler alert: Scott Pilgrim disappears in the first episode, and then the rest of the show is about Ramona, which is his girlfriend. I was so disappointed. I was so angry and disappointed at it. I'm like, I had to skip like 4 episodes. I'm like, yo, where is Scott Pilgrim? Where is Scott Pilgrim? I thought that, he was going to miss. He was going to disappear for 1 episode. And then, we will be working with Ramona on the 2nd episode, 3rd episode. Scott Pilgrim will come back, right back into action. And we got nothing. It wasn't until, the last, the 7, 8 episode, all the way towards the end, where we actually see what happened to him. And then, Believe it or not, they pulled a what is it? They pulled a Star Wars The Last Jedi on us. They literally pulled a Star Wars The Last Jedi. In the first Disney Star Wars, which is the Force Awakens. It's a decent movie. It's not bad. It's not better than the original, but it's a decent movie. You watch the second movie, The Last Jedi, Rey, she goes and finds, Luke Skywalker. We find out that Luke Skywalker is a freaking old hermit that doesn't want to be a Jedi anymore. And I felt like they did the same thing with Scott Pilgrim. Spoiler alert. Right? Spoiler alert. They turned Scott Pilgrim into a freaking old hermit mother. And I'm thinking, wait, is this in the comic book? I'm pretty sure this is not in the comic book. I mean, I didn't read the whole comic books, but I'm pretty sure this is not how the story goes. We don't see Scott Pilgrim as a freaking old, bitter, old single dude still living with his roommate. They made him look like a total loser. They made Scott Pilgrim look like a total loser. And look, I understand Scott Pilgrim is supposed to be like this character, right? Like this character living in Canada that he doesn't do anything with his life. Like all he does is just date girls. It's just one girl after the other, right? He's just we could say that Scott Pilgrim is kind of a fuckboy.
That's just wrong.
Scott Pilgrim is kind of a fuckboy. Right? He doesn't do anything with his life, doesn't go to school. He's in between jobs, quote unquote. And All he thinks about is his girlfriend. That's it. He doesn't like has any aspiration in his life, and that's the funny thing about this character. But like in the anime, they go an extra mile to make him look like a loser. The writers of this show went out of their way to piss off the fans, to disrespect the fans. Look, I don't want to blame Netflix because I know that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, this is just another Netflix crappy show. What you need to understand is that Netflix, they give money to these studios, right? They'll give money to a studio, to these writers, to these directors. But then the directors, they will go out of the way to change the whole story and piss off the fans. And, change things up and try to make it all, politically correct. They will go out of their way to do all this nonsense. This is not the Scott Pilgrim the fans asked for. Like, I was really excited for this, but they let me down. They let me down. I am not mad at Netflix. I am mad at the directors. I am mad at the writers. And I think this is what we have to do. We have to target the writers. We have to target the writers, target the directors, because they are the one in charge of this. They are the ones in charge of pulling this off. And look, man, I was really, 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 really looking forward to this. I love Scott Pilgrim. I love the like, honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but this is one of the rare cases where the live action is way better than the anime. I'm serious. The live action Scott Pilgrim is way better than the anime. So I just want to put that out there. This is my review, right? And I didn't even mention, but I'm actually at Polygon.com. This is where I got the article from. And it says Scott Pilgrim Takes Off delivers an all-time great bait and switch. It says, don't let the first episode fool you. And it sure as heck fooled me. I was absolutely fooled by the first episode. And this makes me think, because this was made by Japanese studio with Western writers. Are we gonna have the same problem with the Avatar live action movie, the Avatar live action series, and any other live action that comes out? It makes you think. Like this is bogus. This is not a bait and switch. It wasn't a huge bait and switch. Now, here's what I will say. Is that although they made Ramona the main character all of a sudden, right? I will say that at least the show, it was not as politically correct as I thought it would be. Like it actually wasn't. Like the episodes that I saw were actually decent, but we came here for Scott Pilgrim, and he just disappeared. Anyways, guys, that is my review. I did, ended up doing some spoilers, but I hope that, if you're a Scott Pilgrim fan, I say skip it. Don't even bother. Just skip it. Skip this anime. Skip this animated show. It doesn't matter. Like, they did Scott Pilgrim dirty. They did Scott Pilgrim real dirty in this show. Post your comments down below. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for future notifications. It's your boy, Andy Matrix. Godspeed, baby.